My name is Reginald Martin, and I am the creator of the Transmutation Method. And today I wanted to address a myth. And that myth is the idea of faith, and faith being the highest level of spiritual attainment. Meaning that you just need to have faith and everything else will fall into place. And I definitely want to recognize that faith, there is a place for faith in our everyday experience. Absolutely, positively. If you are in a situation where you haven't had any other role models around you, faith is necessary to believe that you can move out of that situation. For instance, when I was growing up, I grew up in an area that it was pretty rough. It wasn't necessarily a ghetto, but it was pretty rough. I had to believe that I could get out of that area, or that I could do better than where I was. I had no other people around me that were necessarily doing better in my immediate family or anything like that. So I had to have the faith that I could do that thing and move from that place, or eventually get out of there. So in that instance, yes, faith is definitely has a place for you in your life, in everybody's life. But the idea that faith is the level that you should stay at when you're talking about spiritual development, that you should never question anything because you should just have faith, that you should always believe what somebody tells you because you should have faith, that is not the place to stay. That is not the precipice of spiritual attainment. So when you're talking about being able to develop spiritually and develop spiritually mind, body, and soul, you have to be able to connect the three. And faith is connected to the mind. It is a logical thing because you logically have to accept something that you might not understand. But when it comes to developing yourself spiritually, you have to move to knowing. I like to use the example of understanding the idea of God. And people can tell you about God. People can tell you that they have faith that there is a God. Okay? But that is a logical idea. But when you do experience God, you move past faith. There is no need to have faith that there is. You have experienced God in your way. God is an experiential idea. It is an experience that you have, and once you have it, you know faith is no longer necessary at that point. You know who and what God is to you. It is personal. It is subjective. And a lot of times we want to move into a place where we say if somebody tells us about a certain doctrine, then we have to have faith. I have even been told that, you should not even read something else outside of what you're being told because then that is destroying your faith. I don't understand how a person can think ignorance is a higher place to be than knowing. I can't ever see that. So faith is not the highest level of spiritual attainment. Knowing is. Knowing something in your spirit, knowing something in your soul or from your soul. That is the highest level of spiritual attainment. When you know for yourself, when you can validate what you know because of you, you have the wherewithal, the confidence to love yourself enough to know what you know. And that's okay. So nobody else necessarily has to validate your experience of God because it's personal, it's yours. Be okay with that. Be okay with knowing, not just faith, not just what somebody told you. Ultimately, you can only have faith in what you have been told. You can only know what you have experienced. I'm Reginald Martin, and again, I'm the creator of the Transmutation Method. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.